If there's one thing I didn't expect to see this week, it was a Rockstar-centered YouTube channel grifting transphobia for quick cash after e-begging for money last month. And before you feel bad for the guy, the reason he had to e-beg was because he neglected his only source of revenue, aka YouTube, for 4 months by not uploading, while simultaneously blowing all his money partying during a worldwide pandemic.
At the beginning of 2021, I was doing really well. I was getting good views on YouTube, I was collaborating with all kinds of cool people, and I was partying a lot. You can probably tell where this is gonna go. I didn't upload anything for 4 months, at least. Ad revenue tanked, views dropped. So, as a result of that, I fell behind on rent. I couldn't pay my rent.
Oh, and to put the cherry on top, this motherfucker only wanted money if you gave it to him in the exact way he wanted, because apparently donating to him through a super chat isn't good enough.
Again, link down below. And by the way, like, if you're gonna donate when I go live, don't do it via super chat.
But even though he supposedly made enough money to not go homeless, he felt the need to upload a video grifting transphobia for quick cash right before Pride Month, which is extremely scummy, so without further delay, I'll let the video play.
I know this is gonna be a highly divisive video for my audience because, like many people on YouTube, like many content creators on here, I have an audience that spans all across the political spectrum, and that being the case, I know a lot of you saw the title of this video, clicked on it, and now you're just kind of like, the f***, politics in my video games? Read.
Starting the video off strong by insulting and mocking the majority of your fanbase with ignorant assumptions, which make no sense, and people don't dislike politics in video games, they dislike forced politics in video games. I mean, God forbid people want to use video games as an escape from reality.
Even though we're talking about Grand Theft Auto, a highly political game which consists of social commentary left and right at like all times, but hey, whatever.
Initially, this video was going to consist of me comparing LGBTQ+ representation in games by Rockstar way back then versus now. You know, just to kind of like highlight how it's maturing and it's actually getting better and better.
It's almost like those games are ancient and will obviously be outdated by today's social standards. And that GTA V came out 8 years ago itself, so expecting it to be as PC as modern games are is entirely moronic, especially when you consider the fact the whole point of the game is to parody stereotypes and to mock absolutely everyone. Plus, I don't think you're the right person to be virtue signaling about this.
I don't mean better in the sense that, you know, there's like less, you know, crude jokes. I mean better in the sense that there's depth to a lot of the characters now. They're not just like limp-wristed, horny gay guys who are just like, hi. I mean, like, that occasionally pops up in, you know, like the Ballad of Gay Tony, but even a character like Gay Tony has a bit more to him than being a walking punchline.
He's acting as if the Ballad of Gay Tony is something recent, when in reality it came out over 10 years ago, and Rockstar's quote-unquote representation of the LGBT improved a long time ago.
I wish I could say the same for trans people in GTA V, but upon doing research for this video, I found that there's really no good representation at all. It's all bad. And I mean, it's all bad, all of it.
Damn, that's pretty impressive considering the fact I'm pretty sure there's only one trans character in GTA V.
Every single, even reference to trans people amounts to little more than like, ha ha ha, man in dress.
I say, Carruthers, you know what's very, very funny? A man dressed in women's clothing.
Yes, quite. Ripping good love.
Yes.
It's almost as if controversial games will have controversial jokes inside them. For a Rockstar-centered channel, it's pretty impressive how little you understand their products.
Hello, sir, I mean, madam, whatever. That's an actual line by Michael DeSanta, by the way. Fun fact, at least 2 of the 3 main protagonists in GTA V intentionally misgender transgender pedestrians.
Oh my god, most criminals aren't nice people? Who could have guessed that? Also, don't worry, this only gets better because right after that, he goes on to claim drag queens are trans in order to fuel his nonsensical grift of transphobia.
And I assume that these pedestrians are trans because they're being misgendered, they're being called mid-op, they're being told to take more hormones. You know, it's kind of obvious what's being implied there.
Those are very clearly just drag queens, my guy. And to be honest, assuming those drag queens are trans is more transphobic than what some virtual characters are doing.
Hello, sir. I mean, madam. I mean, whatever. Well, hello, mid-op.
Hey, you need to keep taking your hormones. You might need a few more ops, dog. Almost fooled me, bro. Almost.
You also have stuff like a casual T-slur being used in the game in one of the ads, like, hey, this T-slur is watching you take a shit. Kaka poo poo pee pee T-slur, haha.
The irony of this guy complaining about slurs is so strong.
That's right, ladies. Me.
That's the sound I make when I die. How about you?
You treacherous little snake.
Oh shit.
You think you're tough, huh?
And who could have guessed that a game which parodies the real world would parody social media sites and the constant hate spread on them? And once again, if anything, you getting offended over Rockstar mocking the people posting stuff like this on social media is far more transphobic than them mocking the shit posters.
The thing that upset me is not just the fact that they made fun of trans people, because I mean, like, you know, Rockstar is an equal offender. They make fun of all aspects of our culture and social life.
Then why are you so pressed when they make jokes about trans people? If you're okay with them making fun of everyone, then surely you should be okay with them making jokes about trans people.
So really, it should be fair game, right? You know, that should be the case. They make fun of all of us. You know, I'm an atheist. They made fun of atheism. I didn't get on camera and cry about it. Here's the thing that upset me, though. There's a character in GTA V called Peach, who's a stripper, who's a trans woman. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a stripper. I'm cool with strippers. I think they're neat. You know, if you're a stripper, you have my seal of approval. I mean, you don't need it. You know, you care, but rest assured, Swegta thinks you're f***ing neat.
You've got to love how desperately this guy is trying to not offend anyone, and it's honestly so pathetic because it simply shows how disingenuous his video really is.
The reason I find this to be a harmful stereotype is because oftentimes people associate trans women with being, you know, like scantily clad sexual deviants who, you know, engage in like sex work for a living.
Well, let's think about this for a second, because frankly that's all it takes to see how utterly brain dead your point is here. You claim that you think sex workers are quote unquote neat, but right here you're describing someone being labelled as a sex worker as harmful. Those two ideas are in complete contradiction of each other.
Like, imagine if you're playing GTA 6 and every single black person in the game is nothing more but like a 1930s walking stereotype punchline.
How is a singular fictional character being a sex worker in GTA 5 the same as every single black character in GTA 6 being a walking stereotype punchline? Your argument here makes no sense at all, and it just further goes to show how disingenuous you are being in this god-awful video of yours.
Like, at some point, you would question, like, hey, what's up with this?
Why would I question a game which is designed to mock and parody everything to do with society doing exactly what it's meant to be doing, aka parodying?
But if you do it with a really small percentage of the population, which is already struggling to attain civil rights, nobody bats an eye. And it actually kind of took me by surprise how no one, I mean f***ing no one, no matter how progressive their values may be, no matter how much they may even shame me for being like a supposed centrist, no one has even mentioned this in like a video or article. The closest thing I could find was Buzzfeed talking about this like 8 years ago.
I mean, that's a brilliant way of discrediting any valid arguments you could have potentially made on the topic that you unsurprisingly haven't made anyway. When the only people agreeing with you is fucking Buzzfeed, there's a problem, my guy.
And even back then, nobody took it seriously, because it's like, oh, it's Buzzfeed, and they're talking about GTA 5 being transphobic. Oh, lol, SJWs. It's like, no, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Jesus Christ, that saying is so brain-numbingly ignorant and stupid is unbelievable. If we're representing Buzzfeed using a clock, then the dial on said clock definitely doesn't work anymore.
There was actually another article that came out about a year ago, talking about GTA 5 on the next generation of consoles. GTA 5 brings transphobia to the next console generation. I'm not gonna defend the entire article, because there are parts of it where it's like, okay, well, whatever. You know, like a player pulled out a crowbar, beat up a transgender pedestrian. Okay, well, I mean, like, you can do that with any character in the game. You know, that's a free-for-all. That's kind of like part of the fun in GTA, is the fact that, like, you know, you can attack anyone at any time for any fucking reason.
It's almost like the exact argument you're using here to debunk the article's argument can be used against the argument you're making in your video. GTA 5 mocks/parodies absolutely everything it can, just like how it allows you to kill absolutely anyone you want. The amount of tunnel vision you have to not notice the distinct similarities between your own argument and the article's arguments is out of this world.
I like that. I think that's a strong suit of GTA.
Then why do you have a problem with the game being a free-for-all of parodies about anyone and everyone? Also, you've got to love how he has a problem with snarky remarks from criminals in the game, but he doesn't have a problem with mass murder within the game.
When I played Scarface, The World Is Yours, it kind of pissed me off how, like, I was unable to just attack pedestrians left and right. So it's cool to me that I can just boot up GTA and just go, like, on a massacre for no reason. It's cathartic. So I don't have a problem with you being able to attack these characters. I have a problem with how these characters are portrayed in the game.
Yes, because it totally makes sense to say that beating the living shit out of trans people is okay, as long as they are portrayed in a good light.
Because really, haha, man in dress is really all they amount to.
A man in a dress is a drag queen, not a trans person. Now, I'd love to call him brain dead right now, but he's not being entirely brain dead, as he's manipulating people into thinking a bunch of drag queens are actually trans women in order to stir up controversy and get some quick cash from the trans community, which is incredibly scummy to say the very least.
And it's kind of messed up, because if you did this with any other class of people in society, people would be outraged, people would be pissed off.
GTA 5 literally does exactly that, and people aren't pissed off about it. So this insanely disingenuous argument once again amounts to nothing.
And the consequence of this is that Rockstar appeals to a lot of people who actually are transphobic, who actually are homophobic.
Just like Super Mario Bros. And Spider-Man do, plus pretty much any game ever made that doesn't heavily feature LGBT characters. Something appealing to a certain group is not a valid argument at all, and once again you're suffering from a severe case of tunnel vision.
They are wearing crop tops, high heels, leopard, whatever you want to, cheetah print, basically anything a man should never wear. Not only is just like their own clothes like bad enough, these are like some gay guys, and this is just so disturbing.
Hey honey, why don't you jump in my ride? I like to lift your shirt and look better on my bedroom floor.
I think that's a dude. Is that or one of them tricks? Oh, damn. That's what he gets for being such a ass bitch.
It's a boy, guys, ladies and gentlemen. It's a boy. Don't y'all be looking and being all nasty. Like y'all don't know it's a boy. So we out here with a little sweet little hopefully they don't like what they see, you know what I'm saying, because they're not supposed to.
You got on good.
I have just found a transgender.
I'm telling you, that's a man.
Today we're talking about how to make your GTA Online female character into a male, technically make you into a transvestite. But overall, I think it's pretty funny to be a female character with a male head, because you now are a transvestite, similar to the transvestites you guys saw at the beginning of the video.
Oh, I'm gonna get in a fight with a I cannot get beat up by
There they are! The wars, we won!
Wait a minute, wasn't this exactly what Swegta was promoting about 30 seconds ago when he said he's okay with the fact you can beat up and kill trans people in the game? The constant contradictions in this video are impressive, if I'm being honest.
If you think I'm being unreasonable, let me just emphasize. I'm fine with Rockstar making fun of trans people, as long as, like, that's not the only type of representation they have in their games.
That is quite literally the only representation anyone has in GTA 5. Plus, you are very clearly not okay with the joke, since that is exactly what you've been crying about for the entire video.
We're not just talking about characters walking around in goofy clothing, we're talking about main protagonists in your video game intentionally misgendering a trans person. Like that's one of the most personal attacks you can engage in with a trans person.
How can this man sit here with a straight face and be surprised that the main characters of GTA 5, who are criminals and mass murderers for the most part, misgender people? Like bro, they've done far worse things than that over the span of the campaign. But of course that doesn't matter because it doesn't fit his narrative.
I know trans people, and I know that like some of them actually play Grand Theft Auto 5. Some of them love the game. And I can only begin to imagine how it feels when like you come across shit like this, not just in the game, but in the community as well.
Clearly if they love the game, then they don't have much of a problem with it.
And nobody says a fucking thing about it. If you want to make fun of people, that's fine. But if you're just tossing around slurs and portraying these people as being nothing more than walking punchlines, and even going as far as to have main characters in your game engaged in personal attacks based on this characteristic, what are you saying?
It's truly impressive to me that even after his trans friends have told him that they quote-unquote love the game, he still made this video, because for some reason he seemingly doesn't think they have the mental capacity to speak up for themselves or some shit like that. Yet again, I'm going to have to repeat the fact that GTA 5 is a fucking parody.
So as far as gay people being represented in games by Rockstar, it's getting better, you know? It's still kind of cringy. You know, like I said, a lot of it's still announce to like, hey, it's f***ing hot outside, I'm gonna suck a d***. But occasionally you'll have a gay character do something outside of that, where it's like, whoa, these people have multiple facets to their personalities? That's amazing, good job, Rockstar.
You know, like, I'm not asking for trans people to be given a pass in GTA 5.
That is exactly what you are asking for.
And I know that people are gonna click on this video, listen to me ramble on about this, and just dismiss my opinion as just like, oh, well, you're just too sensitive. Okay, well, maybe we just differ on this, but, you know, the standard that I have for, like, racist jokes in GTA, I apply that same standard for, like, any other group of people, because I actually believe in equality.
You know, when I think of a person who believes in equality, I definitely think of a guy grifting transphobia for easy clicks and quick cash. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't blame anyone for clicking off your shitty video because you're being too sensitive, since that's exactly what you are. You are way too sensitive.
If nothing else, if nothing that I've said has convinced you, let me just try to, like, appeal to you as a person who has an interest in video games. You know how the media and a lot of people in general presume that people who like video games are like these mean, vindictive, malicious people?
And in my case, they ain't wrong. I'm a cunt. But unlike you, I'm not going to get butthurt over the fact that someone thinks all gamers are mean. Like, who the fuck cares what some random ass person thinks, because I sure as hell don't.
Shit like this doesn't help. It actually reinforces that, because you have a lot of people who don't play these games, who see shit like this happening, and just presume that, oh, well, you know, they're just appealing to their consumer base.
I don't care. And how the fuck is this exactly meant to convince me about your argument? Because I'm pretty sure thinking gamers are mean and being transphobic aren't remotely comparable.
So, logically, they would arrive at the conclusion that the people who play these games are transphobic, even though a lot of you are not.
Damn, I guess you must have an even more evil twin on Twitter, since you essentially agreed with someone saying that the people disagreeing with you were transphobes. And the only way I know how to respond to something like this is to tell you to
Keep that same energy.
You know, you either are pro-trans rights, or you just don't give a f***, because it's like, well, whatever, it doesn't have anything to do with me. I don't know, just my 2 cents. How do you feel about it? Because I care so f***ing deeply about you. I love you.
Well shit, someone's about to catch a case. But either way, we have finally come to the end of that terrible video, so with all that being said, please do not forget to do all the things YouTubers love to beg you to do, aka check out my Twitter, Discord server, as well as like, comment, and subscribe. So I'll see you all in my next video.